What's the YouTube? Dell here from Zephyr with another live duel from locals. So on the left we have a spicy Clown Crew Light and Darkness Ritual deck. And on the right we've got myself on Phantom Knights. So my opponent is going to be starting straight off with probably like the perfect hand of utilising the Clown Crew Rehearsal, discarding the Skull Archfiend of Chaos, which in turn, not only do we get to search out the 2 cards for our Clown Crews, we then get to search out our monster that we need, or our Ritual monster for the Ritual of Light and Darkness. Activating Malabresme, getting us 2 monsters on the field, one being Xyz and one being a Fusion. Both of those, once they're attributed, the Xyz will let us set a Clown Crew spell, and the Fusion will let us set the Clown Crew trap. Depending on which one you play, you could play all 3 if you wanted to. Then we're going to start triggering a chain of events. Usually you'll go Chain Link 1, your Bianca Viso, because you don't want to draw the cards you want to set. You usually want to protect the spell setter because that gets you into the Matinee Operatics, which is going to draw you even more cards. And then you kind of want to finish the chain with the Fusion monster because that will then let you set one of the trap cards. He does say that he opened up the trap cards in the hand, so going to activate the Operatics. This is going to allow us to special summon another Clown Crew from the deck or extra deck ignoring its summoning conditions. And then during the end phase, you'll draw cards equal to the number of different monster types. So Pendulum Link, Synchro, Xyz, yeah, then we're going to use the Skull Archfiend of Chaos to add back the Skull Archfiend of Chaos itself, plus, the Ritual of Light and Darkness to add those both back. Then we're going to activate that, getting rid of 2 Charmies, one being the Perulia, one being the Foolos. Get us access to the Dark Magician of Dark Chaos, Black Chaos, which ultimately ends up giving you protection for your spells and traps, which when you're drawing cards in the end phase, which in this scenario was 2, and then getting to set 1 more, it just gives you another line of protection, which is pretty brutal. So, contemplating now if I want to activate a Dominus Spark, because now we're in the end phase, I'm like, well, the Bianca Viso sets up a Tribute Summon, so I was like, well, we'll try and get rid of that. I do target, so I could get rid of the Magician of Black Chaos. So I was like, well, I could get rid of one of those. But I felt that the Bianca Viso would probably be more annoying because getting to set up that Tribute Summon, I could be facing down a Vanities. I could be facing down a... I could be facing down pretty much anything, really. Like sometimes people will even play Ra Sphere mode and drop that on your opponent. Or drop that on me. So we do use the Dominus Spark here. We've banished the Bianca Viso. I felt at the time that that was the right decision here. So we're going to continue to try and push a little bit further forward. Seeing if there's anything more from my opponent. There isn't. We're going to draw for turn. And now it's all about breaking through this field. So at this exact moment in time, I could imagine that one of the cards would have been a Mind Shuffle. We do get to activate a second copy of the Malabresme. So this is going to give us access to a Fusion monster and then the Ritual monster. So I'm like, okay, well, one of the trap cards isn't New Face. It's not Finale, but it is the Soiree. So Soiree lets you summon 2 more, but then it can be banished from the graveyard to also Tribute Summon. So this is where it gets a little bit sticky. And you're about to see how kind of powerful this can be when they go first with very little interaction. So we summon out Dritsty, which is the Link monster. We then summon out the Xyz. The plan here isn't really to set cards, but I reveal the Decayed Cloak and a Fog Blade to special summon down the Decayed Cloak. Now at this point here, I'll go Chain Link 1 Decayed Cloak to search. They go Chain Link 2 the Soiree Operatics to perform a Tribute Summon. So they've obviously got a second Bianca Viso in the hand, which isn't ideal because as long as you can, well, it doesn't even need to be Bianca Viso, I don't believe it. As long as it can perform a Tribute Summon of 2 monsters, the idea is you want to tribute off the Dritsy because then the Dritsy makes both players with a hand shuffle their hands into the deck and draw a new hand. So yeah, we'll just kind of see where this is trying to lead. So we resolve that. That's the Tribute Summon. That gets the Bianca Viso. We then resolve the search off of the back of the Decayed Cloak. And at this point here, my opponent just asks, is there any more chains? And they go Chain Link 1 Dritsy, Chain Link 2 Meteor. And I go, is there a draw in the hand? Because in this scenario, if there is a draw in the hand on resolution, I was like, yeah, cool, I'll just scoop. Because then I lose my entire hand and all I'm doing is playing with that one card. So not very nice, that one. So we get to go into game number 2. So now I'm going to be trying to present a little bit more of a field to make it a bit more awkward for my opponent to deal with. Hopefully, I'm not going to get droll looped on this one. So you start off the Emergency Teleport. I actually really quite like this because, like with Mind Shuffle, I could go for the Ghost Ogre. But because I just want to extend, you just go for the Psychic Wielder or Psychic Tracker. It doesn't matter which one you go for. It's also the benefit that no matter which one you go for, it sets the extender for the other one. So unfortunately, we do have the normal summon boots, which can never be really good. We're going to go into the Scythe. We're going to use Scythe's effect, detaching the boots. This usually does bait out some form of interaction if there is one. And that's exactly what we're going to see here with the Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. We're then going to use Boots effect to grab us the Veil. Now, because I've got Phantom Knights on the field, I can actually activate the Veil the turn it's set. Now, I did open up the best, because obviously if you have to normal summon your boots, you know that you haven't opened up as well as you could do, because any normal summon of any other Phantom Knight monster is going to be better for you. So we do need to utilise the Umbrage Veil here in order to kind of extend our plays. We'll just kind of contemplate what routes of play we have here in order to extend it. So set 1. I think the other card I've got is the Solemn Accusation. So we set the Solemn Accusation. We're going to activate the Requiem. So we get to target our Scythe, bring back the boots, and then we can rank the Scythe up into a level 4. And it has to be the Xyz Dark Dragon. This one was a bit of a waste for me. It is treated as a Phantom Knight, the Raider's Wing. Remember that it's always treated as a Phantom Knight as well. So this is a bit of a waste for myself, because I forgot that the Dark Rebellion Requiem needs you to have the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon as material to get the negate. So I was like, right, well, that's a bit annoying. I'm a bit too far now. So the only one I can go into is Arc, and Arc doesn't do anything during my turn. So this route of play was a bit of a waste. The idea was just to get another monster onto the field, or to try and build back up a little bit. Yeah, it didn't go too well. I'm not going to lie. So we had to use the Umbrage Veil. Like, the opening hand was quite awkward, but then having to try and navigate around a little bit more also made it a bit more awkward as well. Maybe there was something I could have done a little bit differently. Maybe I could have used the Umbrage Veil first, but the idea was, and you'll see it in a second, that I wanted to get into Cherubini. So I couldn't get into Cherubini with the rank 3 because it's not treated as a level 3, unfortunately. So we just skipped the Cherubini phase. We're just going to link all 3 together. We're going to go into the Rusty Bardiche. We don't have any Phantom Knights in the graveyard that are going to be that effective for us, annoyingly, again, as well. This is just like one of those odd scenarios where you just don't see enough Phantom Knight monsters. But we get to use Rusty Bardiche. We're going to send the gloves. That's then going to allow us to set a Phantom Knight spell or trap. So in this one, it really kind of comes down to, can I set up an Ophion play? Can I set up maybe the Carmel play? Carmel play. So we go for the rank up magic launch. We then banish the gloves. The gloves lets us send another Phantom Knight trap for Nagreus. We banish the wings. Wings then let us bring back the Scythe. So then we've got that Xyz monster with no materials. Now, I probably should have held that, because if I did that during my opponent's turn, at least I would summon to the zone that the Bardiche points to and then destroy a card. But, you know. So we set 1. We're revealing the Flare in the hand. Pretty good. Pretty good. This is then going to allow us to get access to Rehearsal, and we all know how good Rehearsal is. So we tribute off we discarded the trap card, the Soiree. We then use Ragged Rites of, I can't remember what it's the Ragged Rites Ritual, I believe it is. So we're going to search out the Griffo. A very, very good start here. So activate the Griffo. This is going to get us access to the Mind Shuffle. Sets the Mind Shuffle, activates it, and you activate the effect on the same time you activate the trap card, so it can't be Ghost Ogre at this point, because Ghost Ogre will only let you use it on a card that is already face up on the field, and technically this isn't already face up on the field, it's activating all in one go. So little note if you didn't know that already. We grab the Skull Archer in the Chaos, we discard the Skull Archer in the Chaos, we get the Ritual Light and Darkness, send that to the graveyard, we search out the Black Luster Soldier, we're then going to use the effect of the Ritual Light and Darkness to bring back the Griffo. Activate the Ritual Light and Darkness, which is, I can assume, is going to happen here. And now it's the point where it's like, yeah, cool, I'm just going to go into the Ophion, because now what will happen is, like, the only downside of clearing my opponent's field off, like getting rid of that Mind Shuffle, is that I'm then open up the door to like an infinite impermanence or something that needs no monsters. But regardless, we're going to Ophion. I do forget to attach the rank up magic, so apologies on that one. But we destroy the Mind Shuffle. I now know that my opponent has a Black Luster Soldier in hand, but then they still have like a decent amount of advantage. And they're just confirming what the effects of the graveyard of the spells and traps are and how much they can actually do here. So we do activate the Rehearsal. The Rehearsal is going to allow them to tribute the Flare. And then this is where I've kind of, I mean, I wouldn't say I misplayed, because I needed to stop the Black Luster Soldier coming down. So one way or another, I had to stop it. It does book that. I could have I could have used... I feel that I could have used Solemn Accusation on the Rehearsal. That might have been the better play, because then if you get rid of the Rehearsal, the Malabaresmes can't resolve because Ophions still face up. But then the Rehearsal does... I'm pretty sure Rehearsal tributes as cost, so regardless, I'm pretty sure that gets flipped face down. My Ophion would get flipped face down, so actually probably utilising it on the Malabaresmes will be more effective here. So we're just using the effect of the Skull Archfiend of Chaos. We're banishing what looks like... not banishing, but putting the boots back to the deck and putting back the rank up magic launch, summoning down the Skull Archfiend of Chaos. And ultimately it's going to come down to if there's another Ritual of Light and Darkness spell card in the hand, or another way that we can tribute off with enough monsters, can get access to the Blackluster Soldier. The Ophion is weak enough to just be attacked over by the Skull Archfiend of Chaos. But then the other option is, do you get rid of the Rusty Bardiche? Because if you get rid of the Bardiche, there's no resource. But I think the Ophion is just that big of a threat that you have to deal with it. So, and then it's just a contemplation if there's a play that can be made to get rid of the Rusty Bardiche. So, just iron up the Rehearsal here. Looks like there's a Bianca Viso. We are going to use the Rehearsal. Just reading over the Rehearsal exactly. If it Ritual summons a Clown Crew monster, if it Ritual summons any monster, we tribute off the Blackluster Soldier. We go into Flare, and then it looks like we just double tribute to get into the Bianca Viso to draw 2 cards, which is quite... I suppose it's quite important here. It really kind of comes down to what draws you get. So just confirming, putting 3 back here. Not too sure why they got cycled back. Oh, sorry, use the Flare. So the Flare puts the Ritual monsters back. That makes sense. So put back 2 Flares in the Blackluster Soldier. Drew into the Black Chaos. Pretty good. Discarding the Black Chaos gets the Mind Shuffle from the graveyard back, which is quite important. And we've already used the Mind Shuffle effect to search, but we do have the Mind Shuffle effect to return, which can very easily be done because Bianca Viso is high enough. And it's really going to come down to here. So we draw for turn. We've got the Rusty Bardiche. My opponent tries to activate the Mind Shuffle. It gets hit instantly with a Ghost Ogre. That was in the hand since the previous turn. So I only play 1 copy of it, but to hard open it was quite helpful in this scenario. We're now going to use the Rusty Bardiche. It kind of comes down to if they drew any interactions from the Bianca Viso draw or anything more than that. So we send a Phantom Knight card from deck to grave. We set the Fog Blade. We're then going to banish the Cloak. Cloak would then get us a search of a monster. That's going to hit with Ash Blossom. I then activate Reinforcement of the Army to get me the Decayed Cloak. Normal summon down the Decayed Cloak, get me the Boots. Boots extends. And then you kind of just build off from here, really, because the reason I did this is I didn't have a discard for the Torn Scales. The Gloves was already banished. And getting Boots into rotation can give me access to another trap card if I haven't gone round both of them. Otherwise, it can just give me access to another one of the quick play spell cards. So, and keep in mind that we've also got the brand new TCG exclusive, which is what I go into here, the Shamanite, because this lets me, not only will I be able to destroy the Bianca Viso, but I get to attach the trap card, detach all 3 materials, bring back the gloves, so I can then get gloves back into the graveyard, utilize the wings to summon another monster back from the grave, which will be the Decayed Cloak. And the idea is now I've just got to try and get the mass right in order to get game. So the Shamanite, I believe, is not that strong. However, I did forget the inherited effect off the back of the gloves, because the gloves, if it's used as material, I believe it's specifically for a Phantom Knight monster, does give you an additional 1,000 attack. So we utilise Cherubini. We give Cherubini a nice little buff. We send the Torn Scales, because now I can banish the gloves. The gloves can then send the other trap card that I haven't used yet, which is the Fog Blade. I can bring back the Torn Scales. I can then banish the Fog Blade to bring back the trap. I can then banish Boots to get me access to one of the spell cards, which would be either the Quick Launch or the other one, that one, the Raiders one, I think it is. We're just kind of checking what else there is. We do have the Umbrage Veil in the graveyard, which is actually quite important because that lets you quick effect Xyz summon. So I was just double checking it wasn't during my opponent's turn, but utilizing the ability to Decay Cloak in the graveyard to mean that I can use the Shamanite as Xyz material this turn, using its rank as its level. So we go to the battle phase, we do a bit of damage. There's not enough to get game here yet, but we use the Umbrage Veil, we make Breaksword, and when we get the last killing shot in. So taking it to that all-important game number 3. So my opponent starts with Rehearsal. Pretty good. This is where I'm really wishing I had Draw Unlock Bird in the side, because I'm not that I would have guaranteed to open it, but it would have definitely made this matchup feel a little bit more in my control. Whereas at this moment in time, it's looking like a repeat of the first one. And I'm just praying that there is not a Draw Unlock Bird in my opponent's hand. So They're just confirming the set of the matinee operatics, the set of the soiree. So it's looking like we're setting up the droll loop again. And like, oh damn, that's gonna suck so bad. So they draw 2 cards, and then we're just gonna build on from here. So I'm like, okay, well, there's only like, there's not even like one card that saves me in this scenario. Like the one card that I played that I sided in was Lava Golem. I was like, okay, Lava Golem would be pretty good here. We've got the Ragged Rights. The Ragged Rights gets you access to Griffo. Griffo then gets you access to Mind Shuffle. You activate the Mind Shuffle, do the exact same thing. Activate on activation. So it can't be Go so good. Skull Archery into Chaos. Send the Skull Archery into Chaos. It's starting to turn out to be like a T element match where the graveyard's just like kind of overflowing onto the field. So, but I know exactly what my opponent's got on the field, so we're just kind of building up there. And then he kind of shuffles his Biancaviso into the graveyard, like, bruh, neither of us noticed just yet. And he's like, what have I done? So we've got the Magician of Black Chaos, and I do make a bit of a misplay in a minute. You'll see very, very shortly, and you'll be like, ah, what a dumbass. But I kind of just, it didn't mean anything anyway, ultimately. So set 1, spells and traps are protected, draw 2. Looks like we draw an Ash Blossom off the back of that. Pretty good, pretty good. We're going to set 1 more card. We're going to draw for turn. I do have Pot of Sloth, and I'm like, there's no way in a million years, if my opponent has any form of interaction, that Pot of Sloth resolves. Just no way. So I was like, okay, we'll activate Lightning Storm. And then my brain went, well, he's got more spells and traps. Cool spells and traps. And then he went, okay. And I went, oh, crap. And then noticed the Magician. And so, like, the Lightning Storm wouldn't have done anything. It would have destroyed the Biancaviso, but instead it did nothing. So I get hit Ash on the Sloth. I reveal the Decayed Cloak. I have to play into the Droll and Lotbird if they've got it. Not nice to have to do, but trying to do what I can here. Get access to the Stained Greaves, special summon down, or normal summon down the Torn Scales. Any effect, nothing there. Utilize Torn Scales effect, discard a card, and then get access to Boots. Ultimately, trying to get access to Boots. So send him from deck to grave first, the Cloak, or Gloves it looks like we got there. Special summon down the Boots, and then instantly just brutalized, get hit with a Gravity Collapse. Gravity Collapse tributes off the Synchro Monster, gets rid of Boots, pretty much pushes me to the end phase. I'm like, yeah, bro, I can't do anything from that. And then from that point on, like, they're just going to break through and push for OTK. So very, very well done there. Bit of a spicy concoction I wasn't really expecting. So unfortunately, this is kind of the way the game goes, but still a bit of fun to see how the Phantom Knights kind of line up against certain matchups and go from there. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe. And of course, happy dueling.